On this episode of Think Tank Theater, Simon Bradbrook with Snom will be showing us how to register a new device on the NetSapiens cloud platform.
So first thing, we're going to add the device. So we go into the NetSapien portal. You go to inventory and phone hardware. So first thing we're going to do is add a new phone. So we're going to select a model, Snom obviously. As you can see, all the lists of products are there. Select M500, and then we're going to enter the Mac. And basically, all I do now is save this. So that Mac you've just given me has been added, one at the top here, BA19. And what I also want to do now is I want to show you the SRAPs portal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for that MAC address. So as soon as we added the Mac to the NetSapien portal, that gets picked up by the API and it automatically puts it into the Crescendo folder. So this is the product we've just added here at the top. So then what we're going to do now is go into the Snap Builder application. As everybody knows, the M500 it either works in single cell mode or dual base mode. So the first thing they've done with the base is basically giving you options of whether this is a single base or it's a primary base or it's a secondary. So in this instance, we're just going to select it as a single base.
Right.
And then as you notice there, the add a handset icon just popped up. So this allows us to add handsets. So what have you got there? You've got an M58 and an M55, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So first of all, we'll add the M58. Select add handset. And immediately, as you see, an image of the product comes up and all the line keys that are configurable pop up. So what we're going to do then is we're going to associate the first one to, we'll make this a shared line appearance. So one of the other things that NetSapiens has done, they've given it the option of whether it's going to be a line appearance, meaning a private extension or a private line just to this device, or it's going to be a shared line appearance. And it also gives you the opportunity to actually build out a hybrid config, which allows again to expose the flexibility and make you use the flexibility of the M500. So if we make that a shared line appearance, and I created accounts earlier for this, so we're going to select you as the master, if you like. You're going to be the master of the shared accounts. So then the second line, we could do the same thing. We could give it a shared line appearance. We can make it 2020. And then on the third line, we could give it their own private extension. So we give it, this time we select the line appearance. And I've got 2021. And I think it's your younger brother. So we basically save that. And then you notice there's another add handset tab popped up. So if we select that, and then this time we'll add the M55. So again, same process, add the handset, and then you assign the lines. So what I'm going to do is add two shared for this, as we did previously. So again, so at this point, what we can actually do, that's all been saved. So what I need you to do now, Dan, is actually do a reboot on the device that's in front of you, just the M500.
Okay.
If I go back to the inventory, this is the device up top now. So when that's ready, that little icon there is going to turn green.
So the phone or the base looks like it's online.
Yeah. So as you can see there, that's turned green now.
Yep.
The MAC address. Right. Can you power cycle, pop the battery out the back of the handset, and then power cycle the desk set for me?
Both of them look to be downloading something you've got on the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
cogwheel and the down arrow, so that looks good.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's updating the config for each one of those devices.
Handset came up. It looks good now. I've got 2020 registered on the handset.
Okay. Perfect.
And so here's how we are looking.
Okay, so that's perfect. So that matches what we've got on the screen then. So one of the great things about this, once you get it set up, if you need to actually add any additional information, we could just basically I needed to add for another line appearance for your private extension. We can basically add that there. And then if we do a save and resync, that will then reboot the system and it will update the handset with the extra line appearance.
So I see the base is now rebooting on my side from your save and resync.
Yep.
So it's even the time that it takes to make the changes here in the portal and push down, it's pretty quick. Yeah, and I like the little icons that Snom has here on the phones. Like you said,
Yeah.
It's got the little cog wheel with the down arrow, so it tells you, hey, the phone is pulling something down from the base right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it lets you know like there's stuff going on in the background, which is really nice. The small icon out of the way, it's not intrusive to the phone, but it lets you know, hey, we're downloading, making that change. In SRAPs on the Crescendo side, if we were to take this and extrapolate this out to where this was a sky switch, would they, instead of having that Crescendo piece on the background, that would be where SRAPs would have put it into?
Exactly. So basically, obviously with NetSapien, the white label
Platform. Yep.
platform, yeah. So it really, it's like we work with United Cloud in Canada, and it says United Cloud on their portal. Sky Switch is going to say Sky Switch. Strata 7 is going to say Strata 7. So basically, if they're white labeling their own instance of it, the portal is going to look identical, but it's not going to say NetSapiens Crescendo in the background.
Gotcha. And so the SRAPs piece was from the Snom API.
Correct. Yeah. So like I said, what we did, we worked with NetSapiens to get all of the products to be able to ZTP. So as soon as you plug it in, it identifies what kind of Mac it is. So essentially, it's just an API between the platform and our redirection server.
Gotcha.
So as soon as it's entered into the portal, it immediately enters it to the SRAP server. Then as you plug your phone in, because the first port of call when a phone's factory defaulted is going to be SRAPs, it identifies the Mac, authenticates it, and it says, oh, you're in the NetSapiens portal. So
Right.
Immediately it starts that provisioning process.
Perfect. Is there a way in the portal to upgrade the firmware version of these phones? What else can you do managing the phones from the portal?
Managing the phones from the portal, obviously you've got your basic provisioning. You've got the biggest thing is the line keys, because now it's given the partner the opportunity to actually change the line key without actually having to open up the web UI. So basically remote interaction there, like I said before. Big thing is they can actually manage this system remotely. They're not having to roll a truck to go there.
Right.
So that's, they seem quite simple, but there's been an awful lot of work going into this.
Honestly, the only other thing I would think is if there's a hardware firmware that you need to push into the phones.
Yeah, but then again, that's quite easily managed, because like in the SRATs instance for NetSapiens, they can just basically specify an upgrade. So the remote management's there. You can just basically add a line into the SRAPs provisioning that you need to do a firmware upgrade, and that takes care of it for you. It's just basically a reboot of the hardware at that point.
And that would be through the SRAPs, not through the NetSapiens platform.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess another thing to think about too is then each reseller then would have their own SRAPs account that they log into and configure this API into their NetSapiens platform.
Well, no, they don't need to. That's the thing, because what anything on the NetSapien portal, as soon as you add it, it immediately puts that MAC address into the SRAPs portal. So it's not like they even need to manage them themselves. They can if they want, but we'd have, obviously we'd have to get together and rewrite the API for them to their instance. But yes, it can be done.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was asking how would it at that point, if a customer needed to push a firmware to the M58 and 55 and M500,
Yeah.
if it's all a shared SRAPs account, how would they go about that?
Well, but okay. So what we were looking at is obviously the alpha testing server that I have access to. It's not the live. So in the live, I believe what NetSapien do is actually they tenant. So whoever's added the Mac, it segregates it to their tenant on the NetSapien SRAPs. So they've still got access. Yeah, exactly. So they have their access to their own area.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense then.
I mean, if you wanted to add more devices to the system, you can. If you wanted to change it from, a single base to a dual base, you can go in there and change all that on the fly using Snap Builder.
Yeah, my thought again was, if like right now we showed the M55 and the M58 coming up on an add a handset, but let's say Snom does something amazing in the next 12 months and says, hey, we came out with 7 new handsets that all work on this M500. It's going to require a firmware update to the M500 to pair to these new handsets.
Yeah, I mean, it would also require some, we'd have to get back to NetSapiens and they would have to add the options for the new handsets that you just mentioned to that. But yes, exactly, it's going to follow the same process. It's one of those things we worked. It's taken us a long time, but we worked on it. We got the template down, so now it's a case of just rinse and repeat for every time you need to change something.
Yeah, that's great. And not only the M500 on there, we saw almost a full line of Snom phones in there too. So this was just one example of this new version of 44.
Yeah,
perfect.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Think Tank Theater. Stay up to date on our latest projects, conversations, and tutorials on YouTube and LinkedIn.